Hampshire's future. My guest today is Mr. Harold Shurtleff. He's the camp director of Camp Constitution. I have Nathaniel Shurtleff. He's a student at the camp, and Georgia Shurtleff, and they've come up from West Hyde Park, Massachusetts, to tell us about this camp that we have here, or that they have in Rindge, New Hampshire. So welcome, Mr. Shurtleff.
Well, welcome, Bill.
And nice to see you, Nathaniel and Georgia. Thanks for coming up.
And by the way, there is a relationship. They're my children.
Right. Yes, that's good. All right. I think what I'd like to do is just to give the viewers a little view. I'm going to roll a clip, which will show you what's going on. If we can do that right now. Okay, now that we're back from the clip, let's just go over what we saw in that clip, all right? The first part we had in there was Pastor Lear. He was on a field trip to, where'd you guys go to? Concord? I mean, Lexington, right? Lexington and Concord, yeah. Right? Great. And then the clip shows the flag raising in the morning. Mm-hmm. Why don't you tell us how that takes place? And
well, each day we start off with a flag raising. We do a scripture verse, read a scripture verse, and of course the campers, the younger people, are the ones that are participating in that, and a flag raising ceremony before we start our morning meal.
Right. Yeah. So in the clip you can see in the background, past the flag, the building where you have lunch, right. And then we showed a clip there of breakfast. Right. The kids getting their breakfast. What do you get for breakfast there, Nathaniel?
Some different things.
Really?
Different thing every day.
Is it good?
It's okay.
Good. It's okay. Good wholesome. Good wholesome food. I guess for camp food, it's pretty outstanding.
So at the beginning of the camp, you give these students, or campers, should we call them, a quiz.
Well, Bill, it's a family camp,
right.
So it's open for whole families, even infants. You know, and 3 and under. There's no fee.
Right.
But yes, we all of the those who will participate in the classes, they'll get an entrance exam. Right. And it's not to make them feel bad or make them look dumb. It's to see what level they are, because we do have a wide range of people. We have people from homeschool backgrounds, private school backgrounds. We have people that have people whose parents might be into the patriot community, and the children more apt to know some of these things. And sometimes you people coming in for the first time, they're hearing these things, and they're getting a 5 or a 10 on their entrance exam, and they'll leave with their final exam getting an 85 or 100. So in other words, they've learned a whole lot in that 1 week period.
Well, and part of that clip may have been while they were taking the exam. I'm not sure which that was, but after that, then we went into the campfire. So, Georgia, can you tell us what goes on at this campfire?
You go down there and you begin, like all the counselors say, "Good evening, campers," and all the campers scream back, "Good evening, counselors." And then we sing songs and stuff, and a lot of the campers go up and they do skits, or they can do like sing songs like Cabin, all the members of Cabins participating in a song. And, you know, it lasts for about an hour, and then we do a scripture reading, and then we say goodnight. And
hey, Nathaniel,
yes?
Do you do any cooking of marshmallows or anything?
I think we do the first night. We do.
More or less.
S'mores, yes.
Right. Yeah. Then the other part on the clip there was we ended up with Pastor Lear back in Lexington, and he was saying then we were going on to Concord. What happened up there?
Well, we among other things, we'll
that's
take
a field
trips,
yeah.
And this would be the camp that took place in 2009. Of course, next year's camp
right.
will be July 10th to the 16th, I believe. We took the whole camp out to Concord and Lexington. Concord Bridge, where was a famous battle, and the motto of the camp is honoring the past, teaching the present, and teaching the present and preparing the future. So we want to give the attendees, both young and old, a real appreciation of the sacrifices of the men and women that went before us, generations before in some cases just, so many years ago, a few years ago. So we start off at Lexington Battle Green, and the gentleman, Pastor Garrett Lear, who's known as the Patriot Pastor, he's a New Hampshire resident. But he's a native of Lexington who actually had an ancestor that fought at that famous battle. And he gives a wonderful, and he's dressed in what they call the Black Robe Regiment, the clergyman. He is a clergyman. And he gives a very good narrative of what happened on that April 19th morning of 1775. And then we'll take some tours of some of the buildings, some of the historical buildings in the area, and then on to Concord, where we went onto the bridge and the visitor centers there. So history, reading it in a book is great, but actually seeing where it happened, I think, it makes it even that much better. Right. And it's to a lot of people, we have campers that come from different parts of the country where they just can't wait to see these great sites. You know, we live down the road, we see it all the time, but I never get tired of bringing people to this place. And right. On the way, there's also a lot of history from Rindge, New Hampshire to Lexington, because all of these local towns had militias that answered the alarm, and there happened to be one of the Minutemen was a black gentleman, Prince Estabrooks, and he's buried in a little town called Ashby, and we sometimes will visit to pay respect and honor the sacrifices he made. So we teach history, but we also like to show them something. Of course, we're spoiled here in the New England region too, because we have so much of it.
So Georgia, have you ever attended that reenactment that they have in Lexington?
I do, yeah.
You have to get up pretty early for that, don't you?
Oh yeah, like 2 o'clock in the morning.
2 in the morning, just to get a
maybe
place.
Not that early, but early enough.
Yeah.
So how about you, Nathaniel? You've been to that?
Oh yeah.
You like it?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of history there, huh?
Yes.
What's the age group of this camp?
Well,
for the camp?
The general age group for those who might participate in the class is anywhere between 11 to 18. That might be an exception here and there, but pretty much we try to teach these things in an adult level. But we will be developing programs for the younger people too when there's younger, and there's plenty of things to do outside of their classroom activity. But let me just say, a typical day, as I mentioned, we start off with a couple of optional things: a morning run, or what they call a polar bear swim. And if it's in July in New Hampshire, it's not all that polar bearish when it's the water temperature is 70 degrees or what have you. But then we have our meal, our devotions, and then a meal in the morning, and several classes. Now the field trip in the middle of the week took just about the whole day. The classes may vary. We have several on the Constitution, sort of the nuts and bolts of the Constitution. We had a class on the environment and global warming. Is it real? And of course, our contention it is not real. That global warming is not man-made, and then we're in a cooling period. But the politics behind it is the issue. And Blumenfeld, who has been a guest on this show, was one of the instructors. Jim Perloff, I think another one of your guests, he did a class on creation versus evolution, and of course on his Shadows of Power, explaining sort of the machinations, the folks behind the scenes that have a lot of influence in our country. But what's important isn't just to know these things. Is our job at our camp is to help train leaders in the Patriot movement. And some of them are adults who are learning these things for the first time, and some of them are children my age who can be leaders now, but also as they get older and as they become more active in the community, become responsible adults, they will be. And we believe that the next generation is the generation that's going to lead this country back under the Constitution. And it all starts with the understanding of what our government's about. And even though we're just one small camp right now, we do have some dream. We have a vision of having a year-round camp program where other groups can rent it out, whole families, and all kinds of wonderful things. We want to be able to put this curriculum in a package and make it available to anybody. You can have a weekend seminar, or a day-long event, or have a week-long camp like ours. Right. And so be a model of other camps that are like this. I
wonder if your children go in for that polar swim. Did you guys go in? Yeah, it's pretty cold.
I couldn't get them in the morning. No.
What is the cost here for a family to?
Well, we do a good job of keeping the rates as low as we can. This whole organization is all volunteers, including me. I'm a volunteer at the camp, and we have people who make donations to help make the camp possible. And of course, the cost is under $300 per camper, and that includes food, lodging, material, everything. And there are some weekend camps, the 2-day camps, that charge $500 or $600, and they don't get and that includes the field trips. Now they have spending money for incidentals and things like that. But we have special family rates, and children under 3 are free. And under 11, I think the rates go down. And we even have people that can pitch their own tent. They can bring a tent and pitch the tent. Still have access to all the facilities, and they can, obviously be less expensive for them too. And we do have some assistance available on a sort of case-by-case basis. If people need some help, we want to get them there. If they should be at camp. Not only that, if they're coming from a good distance or they need transportation or logistics, someone pick them up at the airport or the train station, we will do our best to make that possible. We can't guarantee that if you live in Arizona, we can go and get you, but if you can come a certain distance or we can do it, we can help.
Try to help transport somebody, let's say from Manchester. Now, the location of this camp is in Ringe, New Hampshire, right? It's about 50 miles from Manchester.
Yeah, just about, yeah.
So you could have, say, some of your counselors, friends, or people like myself, which I've done before.
That's right.
Go to the airport, pick up the children, and then bring them back.
So we do what we can to make it possible.
Right.
And again, we want to be more than just a week-long program. We want to be. We want to have year-round. We've had our tables at some different events. We had a table at Cheshire County Fair to let people know that this camp exists, that it's open, and we want people to know about it and perhaps get involved with the camp program.
Yeah, let me ask Georgia and Nathaniel a couple of questions. See if what they're learning here at that camp. I've got a quiz that they.
This is, I think, what you might have is the final final exam.
This is called the standard exit test,
right?
Exit
test. That's it.
And how you guys doing on these quizzes?
I hope you know these answers now. You're going to be on. You're on television now.
Here's my question to you, Georgia. What did Patrick Henry make famous? A famous statement that he made.
He said, "Give me liberty or give me death."
Great.
All right. See that? So
let me ask Nathaniel a question. Now I have a dollar bill in my pocket, right?
Yes.
Do you consider that real money?
No.
What is it?
It's fiat money.
It's fiat money?
Yes.
Meaning that it's not based on what?
Gold.
Gold. So you teach them, right, the nuts and bolts, right?
That's right.
Now, I understand that you have both you go on a field trip possibly, let's say, to pass out literature, let's say in the town of Peterborough or something like that, and you give people, what kind of literature do you pass out?
We give them constitutions.
Because it's Camp Constitution, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes we give them DVDs about certain subjects.
All right.
Yeah, what we want to do, Bill, isn't just to, as I said earlier, not just to teach them these important things, but now take it and put some shoe leather on it and go out there and let other people know about what's going on. So this year we took out one camper didn't want to do it for whatever reason. That was his option, but everybody else loved doing it, and we visited 3 towns. Jaffrey, Ringe, and Peterborough, and we spent the afternoon or the morning, several hours visiting the various owners of stores and businesses and some of the residents' homes, and we handed them constitutions and little DVDs on civics. Overview of America was the one we used about the proper rule of government, the history of our Constitution, things like that. And the young people were so well received. I mean, can you imagine some young people coming to your house and giving you a constitution and friendly smiles? You'd say, wait a minute, where are you guys from? What planet are you from? It doesn't happen all that often. And the goal also was to teach the young people, hey, you have a lot of influence, believe it or not, in this freedom fight. And, some of us are 50 or a little bit older, and we may only have 20 or 30 or 40 years, but they get a lot more time, and so it's start now. And again, it's so nice to see how well received the young people are. In fact, we had some of the young people stop off at the local police station in Ringe, handing them constitutions, and the young officer said, "You guys from that camp?" "Oh," he said, "I was at that camp back in the early '90s. Yeah, come on in." So we do have even though this is a new camp program, it's a predecessor of a camp that doesn't exist anymore. But all of the people that are involved, as far as the teachers and some of the people like myself, we've got lots of experience in running camps like this.
Do you have a website?
Yes, it's campconstitution.us. And it will have next year's camp up there, camp at 2010. And it's sort of a work in progress. We have some links to some of the videos that we've done, some of the classes, and there's pictures of some of the activities throughout and we also have our camp newspaper that we have on PDF. So you can see what goes on in a typical day by just clicking on. And you see a list of our sponsors and people that help out with the camp program.
Let me ask Nathaniel and Georgia, What, have you got any special experience that you want to share with the viewers that maybe about your camp?
I just like meeting new people, you know. Like next year is gonna be my 5th camp altogether.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I just like seeing all these new people, and you know, getting to know them and everything, and seeing how they work through the years, you know, like 3 years or whatever. And
Right.
You know what, Bill, it's
So-
important that children have the right type of friends. I mean, one of the things that agonizes parents is that, are you in the right company? And we can say that without, and my whole family participates. My wife, my children, I've got 3 more other than these 2. One is 5, one is 9. Wait a minute, did I? Oh, no, just 2 more, right? Okay, yeah, I had one there. But anyway, it's a very wholesome environment. It's an environment that my wife made some friends, some mothers and ladies that she's meeting for the first time. I've made a lot of friends, and our children sometimes make lifelong friends. And that's important too, you know, and the right kind of friends, in my opinion.
You have your motto for the camp is honoring the past, teaching the present, preparing the future.
That's
You want
right.
to just tell the viewers?
Well, I did mention a little while ago that people have to be instilled in appreciation of those that went before them. That the United States of America didn't just happen. Something had to make it happen. Sacrifices were made. A lot of incredible things happened along the way. You know, you just didn't wake up one morning and then we were a republic, a free country. A lot of sacrifices. So we want to be able to give people an appreciation. And one of the classes we have is entitled, not the faith of our fathers, but it goes America's Christian heritage or America's godly heritage. So we teach them about some of the founders and what they said and what they meant. Like John Adams, for example, who in my opinion was, outside of George Washington, was the greatest founding father. He said the United States, our Constitution is for a religious people. It can govern no other. Things like this you don't learn in most public schools today. So teaching the present would be the adults who are learning these things, if not for the first time, at least things that they haven't known before, and also the people of the, the teenage years, and preparing the future. This is the future, in my opinion. This generation, to my left here, will be the generation that will get our country back as a constitutional republic. That's a very positive outlook. We don't think the world's going to come to an end in 6 months or 5 years from now. We believe that we can restore this wonderful country if enough people understood what this country was about and get back to its roots. We have a very optimistic worldview.
So what's the best way for people to contact you on this? Through your website?
Well, we have a website. It's campconstitution.us, and there you can contact. There's a link to one of the people involved in the camp, and you can also call me if you like, and it's 857-498-1309. And these are the best ways to go to the website, and you can see what the camp's about. And we need help. And again, we have a vision. You know, in the Bible it says that without a vision, the people perish. We don't just want to be a camp, and we lease the camp. It's a wonderful location. It's owned by InterVarsity Towanipi. It's a wonderful camp, and we would love to someday have our own year-round camp program. But it requires dedication. It requires some funds, and it's there. It just has to, it's obtainable. But this is something that would be available for people around the country, and also to have other groups of people in different parts of the country that would like to do something similar. We would be there to help out, to give advice, and even come under sort of the umbrella of Camp Constitution.
So let's say other groups around the country could look at the
syllabus. Yeah,
they could contact you, talk to
Sure,
you about
certainly.
how to run the camp, and
Certainly.
maybe we need one in every state.
Well, there's an old expression, the devil's in the details. I mean, just leasing a camp, well, how big a camp is it? What do you need to prepare your food? And this particular camp, we use the meals are provided for. We pay, for the meals. So, and some camps we've actually brought in our own cook. So, what's the menu? What kind of things do you need? So there's a lot of things like that. The legal issues, the insurance, and the things of that nature. So it's very important. You can't just rent someplace out and get a bunch of people there and make it happen. It takes a lot of preparation and planning.
And you also you're near Mount Monadnock there.
That's right. Yeah.
So you do any hiking?
We take a hike out, and it's an optional hike too. It can be a little rough for some folks, but we'll do a hike on Mount Monadnock. This year, or 2010, we do plan to have a couple of other field trips, and we're also hoping to have a pig roast as our last meal, the meal of the last full day of camp. So we do have some exciting things.
What about boating, swimming?
Well, they have a lake there. We have almost complete access. There isn't any other. No one else uses the lake, so we have swimming and we have canoeing and kayaking and fishing, and there's hiking trails. There's volleyball and basketball and rock climbing. And we do play baseball or wiffle ball, so there's all kinds of activities. We have chess tournaments, and we do have some of the campers who may not be gifted athletically, so-called, that they might be intellectually gifted, so they'll do the camp newspapers. We like to have the campers interview people and kind of get a handle on what it takes to run a little newspaper. And it's just a fun little 4 or 5 pager, but it gets them used to communicating with the printed word as well.
Great. And what other things can we expect from Camp Constitution for 2010?
Well, we can expect a wonderful experience for all ages, a place where people can learn, people can make new friends or reacquaint themselves with old friends, and then take that wonderful information and share it with their neighbors and their friends and their communities at large.
I noticed if you go back to their picture, you saw the big the big building where you have that's
Right.
where the boys stay, right? Then down the road from that, I don't think we saw it in the movie or the clip.
Right.
Then you have
It's a very, first off, it's very well chaperoned.
Right.
And
Yeah,
we do
chaperoned.
have very high standards of conduct, and it has to be that way. You can't have camp anarchy. And it's a better experience when we do have that. And I think within a short time, everybody appreciates it. But yes, we'll have boys. We have different cabins and we have rooms, and the rooms are very nice. The ones we use for the young ladies, they're almost like dormitories. They're 5 or 6 to a room, and plenty of privacy and showers and all that. So it's not roughing it. You're not out in the woods sleeping in pup tents. Unless you bring your own tent, you can do that too. Plenty of hot water, and it's a very. So it's not. You're in the woods, but it's not exactly wilderness camping.
Well, why don't you just give the viewers, let's wrap it up and
Okay.
just give them the contact information once again.
Okay,
and,
well, the website is campconstitution.us, and there is a number on the website that you can call, or you can call me at 857-498-1309. And we also offer this. You see me for the first time, maybe you may hear about this for the first time. I don't know anything about this. I don't know if I want to come or send my children. We'll be happy to put you in touch with people who have participated in the camp program. Talk to them, and they can tell you their experiences.
Or they
too.
can come and visit, couldn't they?
They can come and visit. Sure. Oh, yes. We welcome visitors. Especially if we have a special, like a Sam Blumenfeld speaking,
Right.
please come and take it in.
They
Spend
could
a
come
day,
and
spend a
listen,
half
yeah.
a day. By all means, yes. Yeah.
Right. Well, thank you, Mr.
Well,
Shirtler.
thank you,
Thanks for coming
Bill.
up. Thank you, Nathaniel. Thank you, Georgia. Appreciate it. And once again, I'd like to thank the studios here for their excellent help, and thank the volunteers, and thank you, the viewer, for watching.